We're TTB, the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Stephen Roby. I am the Director of the International Affairs Division here in TTB. We are very excited to share with you some information about our new electronic export certificate system. Today, our webinar will be given by Rainey King. For those of you who have not worked with her already, Rainey King is TTB's export certificate team. So any export certificate you sent in to TTB, it has been processed by Rainey. Or any questions you've asked, it's been handled by Rainey as well. Rainey has over 10 years of experience processing export certificates here in TTB. Before we start the webinar, there's just one or two things I'd like to mention. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function. You can see there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. You can just click on that function and then type in your question. We will handle questions at the end of the presentation. And so again, thank you for joining us today, and I will now hand it over to Rainey.
Thank you, Stephen. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rainey King. I will be giving you a webinar today on electronic export certificates. We're going to start with a quick TTB disclaimer. This information is being presented to help the public understand and comply with the laws and regulations that the Alcohol and Tobacco and Tax and Trade Bureau administers. It is not intended to establish any new or change any existing definitions, interpretations, standards, or procedures regarding those laws and regulations. In the case of any conflict between any statement in this presentation and a TTB statute or regulation, the terms of the regulatory or statutory text will prevail. In addition, this presentation may be made obsolete by changes in laws and regulations. Please consult the applicable laws and regulations for the most current requirements. A quick overview, we're going to talk about International Affairs Division, how to obtain a TTB permit, certificates that aren't available on my TTB at this time, how to get access to the electronic export certificate system, creating an electronic export certificate, locating or surrendering an electronic export certificate, some export certificate resources that you can use, and contact information. This webinar is being provided to all industry members as a basic guide to preparing and obtaining electronic export certificates. It is aimed at people who are new to the process on obtaining an electronic export certificate. As a result of receiving this webinar, it is intended that industry members will increase their understanding of the electronic export certificate process and TTB's requirements for processing, which will reduce the number of delays and rejections and result in a faster turnaround time. Let's talk about the International Affairs Division. We assist industry members seeking to export their products by providing export certificates or documents that are often required by foreign governments in order for U.S. alcohol beverage products to be imported into a foreign market. TTB provides export certificates as a service. How to obtain a TTB permit to export? If you want to obtain an export certificate from TTB, you must have a TTB permit, registry, or brewer's notice number. In order to obtain a TTB permit, registry, or brewer's notice number, please review the website below. Using permits online is the fastest way to obtain a TTB permit. If you need assistance with permits online, please contact Permits Online at the number provided on the slide or via the email provided on the slide. The following export certificates listed on this slide aren't currently available under the electronic export certificate system. The Consolidated Chinese Wine Export Certificate, the APAC Model Wine Certificate, the VI-1 form, the TTB Form 5110.42, the TTB Form 5110.58, and the Certificate of Origin and Typicity typically used for shipments to Brazil. These certificates aren't currently available through the electronic export certificate system and must be submitted to export certificates at ttb.gov with a prepaid shipping label. So how do you get access to my TTB? In order to obtain access to my TTB, you would go to the Export Certificates box and click on Sign In to my TTB. But first, you would go to the myttb.gov website. It will look something like the image shown to the right. When you first log on to the myttb website, you would then go down to this box here where it says Export Certificates, and you would click Sign In to my TTB. You would then create an account with login.gov or ID Me. You may use either or to obtain access to the system. For more information on how to set up an account, please visit the website shown on the slide. Once the account is created, you can sign in with your login ID or ID Me. How do you create an electronic export certificate? Once you are logged in to my TTB, you will automatically be on your dashboard. You will then click on Export Certificates. So when you log in, your dashboard will look like the image shown here. You will then click on Export Certificates, which will be the column to the right. Once you click on that, you will scroll down to the bottom and click on the button where it says Create Certificate, which is right here. You will then select the type of certificate you want for this export. Some of the types of certificates offered at this time are the Certificate of Authenticity, Free Sale, Health, Manufacturing Process, Sanitation, Bottling, Sanitary, Origin, Age, and Origin and Age. Next, you will select the TTB permit number, registry, or brewer's notice number for the exporter. Once selected, the name of the company and their address should auto-populate from Permits Online, also known as Punnel. If the address is not correct, you will need to update it in Punnel. Once you have entered the exporter information, you will need to provide all the information for the foreign importer. So you will provide the company name of the importer, the country which you're exporting to, the address of that company, the city, the state, and the zip code. You would then provide a description of what is being shipped in this block here, and then you would click Add Product. If you made a mistake, click Remove on the right-hand side under the Action tab. I will show you what that looks like on the next slide. You can add up to 8 products for it to fit completely on one page. On the previous export certificates, you were only able to add 5 unless you were able to adjust the document or the template to where you can add more and everything still fit. But on this particular system with the electronic export certificate, you will be able to add 8 and all of it fit on one page. If you want to register a product with the importing country for the first time, you would just provide the description and then click Add Product. So if you're registering for the first time, you would just complete the first box, and then you would click Add Product here. If you're not registering a product, you would need to complete all of the fields that are shown on the screen. One of the features that is different from the past is when you're providing like the bottle can volume or different information for each beverage, it'll show up in different increments in terms of the amount. So you'll see milliliters, liters, you'll see volumes, things like that, different measurements that you can use so that you won't have to worry about providing that on a typed form. Like I said, you can fit up to 8 products, and that's what that looks like here. This is the Action tab that I was talking about on the previous slide. Like if you make a mistake or you need to edit anything, you would just go here, click Remove for that particular beverage, and then you would go back and you would complete it again with the new information or the corrected information. Or if you wanted to totally remove it, then it will be removed. If additional language is required, you would type it in the additional language box and then click Preview Certificate. So some countries require additional language. For country-specific instructions, you can visit our website here, the website that is shown on the screen. And then you would click additional language. I'm sorry, let me go back to that slide. You would enter in the additional language to appear on the certificate. You will then have the option to edit if you need to make any changes. So you would click Preview Certificate right here. You will then click the box under Product Certification. Once you have reviewed everything and made sure everything is correct, you would click this box right here, stating that everything is true to your knowledge and everything is correct and that you're ready to proceed. Then you would click Generate Certificate, which is right here. If you need to edit any of the information, you would click Edit Information, which is the box to the right of Generate Certificate. You will then be able to make any changes before the certificate is generated. So this will be like your last option on making sure that everything is correct, everything is updated in terms of your products, the amounts, where it's going. If you even still needed the certificate, this is where you will make any changes. You will then see a screen with your certificate ID at the very top. It is shown here. You will also see a QR code that can be scanned to verify the authenticity of the certificates. The link can also be used. So here you will have your certificate ID, and then right here is where the QR code would be. It will also provide a link right here that you could click on. You will also have the option to download and print. At the bottom of the screen, you will have the option to download the certificate as a PDF or print the completed certificate. So here are the options here at the bottom. If you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you'll see the button where it says download, or you can print it. You can download and save it as a PDF. So if you need to go back and reference it at another time, you can save it on your computer in a file, or you can print it out and put it like in a binder or whatever to reference it later, and you have an actual hard copy. So you have both options. If you choose to use both, you can. Locating or surrendering an export certificate electronically. To locate a certificate, please input the last 4 digits of the certificate ID number. So the ID number that I showed you that was at the top when you completed the certificate, you'll take the last 4 of that ID and you'll put it in the search box here, and it'll bring up all the certificates here so that you're able to pinpoint exactly which certificate you want to either print out, to look at, or either to surrender. Like sometimes you may ask for export certificate and things change and you no longer need it. At that point, you would surrender the export certificate. So you would go to the right here, you would click on Action, and it would surrender the certificate. And we'll talk more about that in the next few slides. If you lost a PDF or you would like to print it again, this is where you will be able to do that as well. You would just click on the certificate ID, and it will bring you right back to that finalized screen of your completed certificate, at which point, again, you will have the option to download or print. If you want to surrender the certificate, please enter the certificate ID and click on Surrender. In the pop-up box, you would click Yes to verify that you want to surrender this certificate. Once finished, it will show the date it was surrendered. You will no longer be able to use, print, or download the certificate. So please make sure before you click Yes that this is indeed the certificate that you want to surrender and no longer use, because once you do this, it's gone. You can't get it back. You can't view it, print it, download it. It's completely gone. On the next slide are some export resources that you can use. We have FAQs, a user guide, and of course our website on export certificates at the very top. We also have the TTB newsletter, which is our weekly electronic news source. Each edition contains the top TTB news of the week and other helpful information about TTB and the federal alcohol and tobacco laws and regulations we enforce. It is a great way to keep up to date with the latest from TTB. Other export resources that you may find helpful are the U.S. Department of Agriculture, U.S. Department of Commerce, and the U.S. Department of State. If you have any export certificate questions, please see our frequently asked questions at the website below. If you have any questions or concerns with the information provided in this webinar, please email your inquiry to exportcertificates@ttb.gov. Contact information that may be helpful for you. The first one is the TTB National Revenue Center, which handles permits online, power of attorneys, and also TTB permits. So they will be the ones you would talk to if you need to obtain a permit, change the permit in any way, add signatories, change the address, things of that nature. Then you also have the International Affairs Division number and website, the contact ID. And then my information is listed at the very bottom, my phone number and the website where I can be, well, the email that I can be contacted, which is the best method to reach me. Please take a few minutes to provide feedback on this session by clicking on the QR code or the link. We always look for ways to improve our customer service and to provide quality and efficient service for our industry members. So any ideas that you may have or suggestions, please fill that out. We'd love to hear from you.
Visit TTB's official YouTube channel at USTTB.gov for more TTB-related content. And remember to click subscribe so you'll always know when we upload new videos.